is dating and relationships, right? So a lot of you guys know me and my wife, me Adora, and we do a lot of relationship, feminine energy, our Feminine Energy Academy, where we go into all the feminine energy and re-regulation, mind re-regulation, and things like that. But today, what we're going to talk about is dating and relationships. Going to answer some questions. Also, just preparing for tomorrow, where tomorrow in the Feminine Energy Academy, just for those that are in the community, what we're going to talk about is we're going to go over profiles for online dating. Now, actually, we met online. We dated for 8 months, got married 3 months later, and we're going to give out some secrets about how our relationship went, what we did in introducing and meeting each other, and just going to answer questions and help you guys prepare. Because I believe it's about 50% of people in the US that are single, at least 50, that are online dating. So this isn't something that's as taboo as it used to be, right? Years ago, if you were online dating, it's like it was a big secret, right? No one knew. You may see a couple of people you know, and it's like it was kind of cringy, right? But now it's so normal, and people are getting married, having kids, having great relationships online. So we're going to give you a lot of tools. So even drop your questions in here today. And if you have any questions about online dating, we can tap into that as well. But we want to give you the tools and the keys so you can be successful, not waste time. I know we met on this was Natasha's day one online. We met on Bumble. It was day one. We didn't necessarily like stop talking to everyone that day, but we initially met, and then I think a couple of weeks later, we really started talking and built our relationship up. And again, 11 months after we officially began dating, we got married. So we'll go into that for you all. So good morning to everyone. I think I saw a couple of people in the community here. Jaleel, we got Scott Edward that came in. So definitely excited to jump right in today. Okay, so even with the and I'll jump into the online side while we get the questions going, because for online dating, right, there's so many options out there, and a lot of times what we think is the main piece that we have to get on the right app, right? Is it Bumble? I know a lot of different ones have different reputations. Tinder may have a reputation, and just so many others, Hinge or just whatever. But what it really comes down to is your energy, who you are, and what work you've done to prepare to go online, right? Because even online, it could, even though you don't see the person and it's not physically in person, we sense energy as people, right? So if you're dealing with any issues with not wanting to be seen, just really not opening up and knowing how to have a conversation where it's not you leading it, and okay, he's not saying anything, you're just telling him everything about yourself, but you don't know anything about him. Whatever the case is, if we don't have the tools to go about the conversation and getting to know each other, we're going to have similar challenges that we have in person. So even though it's online, we still have to have the right approach. We still have to have the right information, because the energy that we give online is felt, right? The same tendencies we have in person, we have those online. So even in the Feminine Energy Academy, we go over this. Again, we're going to go over it tomorrow, go through all of your dating profiles, because it's also strategies, and it's things that we have to do fundamentally. But we're going to go over your profile to see exactly where you may need to make an adjustment, maybe a picture. You may have a picture of friends up, right? You and a bunch of friends. The guy doesn't know which one you are. He's just up there looking to see if, okay, this is the one I like. I hope it's her, because if it's not, I'm on the wrong page. So you want to distinguish and really make sure that everything is clear. Yolanda Wilson said, I joined the Feminine Energy Academy. So glad to hear, Yolanda. Welcome to the Academy. Let us know what you've learned so far being in it, or if you just jumped in today. Can't wait for the dating tips tomorrow. That's Wealthy Boss Empire. So excited for those dating tips tomorrow as well, because our whole goal in having the Feminine Energy Academy is really to be a safe place for women, right? Because women have different challenges, right? It may be emotionally, women are just built differently than men. So a lot of times when we get into bad relationships, wrong type of relationships, it's a different process that women go through. And having Natasha and all the ladies in there encouraging each other, so many women have been through it, so they're encouraging. Natasha's giving tips and tools based on what she's been through. Again, for you all that don't know, she's a former single mom of four, former widow as well. So she was a single mom for about 4 or 5 years. Her ex died of cancer, and just everything that she went through during that time, she's able to share that, but also share where she's at now and where God has brought her even in this moment. So definitely want to share that. And tomorrow we're going to go straight in with it. You just joined, Yolanda. Congratulations. You'll get a text message from Natasha. She'll kind of help you along the way. She'll give you all the information that you need to get started. So don't fear. All the information is near. So let's drop a couple of questions into the chat. Anything about relationships, dating online, anything that you have, we're going to go deep into it. And even today, I believe Natasha dropped a lot of testimonies of the success that the ladies have had in the Feminine Energy Academy. Women have been women of so many different backgrounds. We have women that are real estate women. We have CEOs. We have women that are transitioning from a normal job to a business. Women from Sweden, Dubai, US, Canada. It's just a mix of everything. All these women getting more healthy, preparing for their husband, getting their money together. It's just a mix, and women are just seeing so many results right away. Wealthy Boss Empire has a quick question. Well, let me go to Brianna first, and then I'll go to you, Wealthy Boss Empire. I have a question about a guy that has come back into my life. So, what is that question? And we'll answer that for you as well. So, I'll go to Wealthy Boss Empire. I feel men do need to hunt. Don't I feel men do need to hunt anymore because men can just find easy women. How do I set myself apart on my profile? Is there hope? First, I'll answer the question backwards. There is hope. There's plenty of men out here that are healthy, that want to get married, that want families, that are financially stable, right? That are mentally stable, and that desire women like you, right? A lot of times it's just us being in position to see them because what we see through our own eyes is our reality. So if we see that, if we say or think that there aren't good guys out here, there aren't guys that want to marry us, there aren't guys that'll be faithful. That's all we'll see when we look at people. That's all we'll see when we talk to them. But for you, it's really, and that's the thing I love about the Feminine Energy Academy, because it helps you really get into the mode where you're receiving, you're not chasing, you're not looking. They're coming to you, right? They're coming to you because of your energy, because of just you making adjustments on your thought process and your approach, right? So a lot of times when we get successful business women that are supervisors, CEOs, women that are go-getters, right? You may be in real estate where, it's you got to get out there and make it happen. A lot of times those same traits we use those same traits when we get into relationships. And we don't always see it. And that may not be you, but just speaking generally, we don't always see that these same traits are being used. But the thing about it is, for healthy masculine energy men, that's a turnoff, right? It's a turnoff when you're the one that's always going forward, when you're the one pursuing, when you're the one, you may say it's like, okay, I'm putting pressure on him. It's the feminine way of putting pressure on, and it's a masculine way of putting pressure on anything or anyone. So really understanding the feminine way to put pressure, and it could be something as small as like letting him know, like, okay, I'm getting married in the next 6 months. I'm getting married in the next year. Not telling him you're marrying him, but just letting him know that you plan on getting married, right? So now he knows where the relationship stands, what he needs to do. So we give you a lot of tips in the Feminine Energy Academy just about how to be in your feminine, but also how to make him come to you, right? Because it's men out there that hunt, That's in our nature to hunt, right? It's in our nature. Even, I've played sports in high school and college, also coach sports for the last 10, 15 years. The thing is, when it's nothing to go after, like if we're playing a real bad team, they don't have any good players. First, I don't care how much motivating we do, it's not the same energy, right? We can't just go out there and destroy them and feel good about ourselves, right? We still want to win. We still want to go home with the victory, but it's nothing to talk about afterwards. It's the same in relationships, in business. If it's a situation where we're going after you and it's super easy, you won't be our wife. Or if you're our wife, it'll be an unhealthy relationship. So understanding how not to just try to be hard but just to be busy and live life, right? And to give you the tools on how to make him pursue you. So men want to hunt, men want to chase you. It's fun, it's a competition for us, especially when we conquer, right? And when we conquer, now it's like, okay, how do we keep this? How do we keep her? Right? How do we keep this business going? How do we take it to the next level? So the healthy men aren't just looking to conquer and leave, right? They're looking to conquer, win the prize. I'll put it that way. Looking to win the prize, and then once they win a prize, how to make it even better, how to make her feel better, how to make her life better, right? How to provide, how to do the things that she needs, right? And of course, it's reciprocated where we're helping each other, but that's how we think. So they're out there. It's really understanding. Get in the Feminine Energy Academy. We'll go a lot deeper in it. It's only $39. Jump in. If everything, I mean, trust me, we have now. I think we have over 260, 270 women that are in it and that are seeing results. I mean, the community board is like Instagram. They're just in there all day talking about their results, encouraging each other. And that's a healthy, safe place to be. Hey, Dana, she's in a Feminine Energy Academy as well. Oh, see, Welty, you have to let me know what your real name is because I know all the ladies in there. Oh, Arshea, I'm sorry. Arshea, I'm sorry. It was one other question someone was asking that I want to address as well. So if you can pin that, Adora support. No, that's Mabel. That's Mabel. So if you can pin that Adora support, I'll answer that question. But the next question I see is, how do you ask a man for money support when dating? So that's a great question. It's a great question. Now, the thing that you have to understand that when men get in relationships, it's an investment, right? Investment of their time, of their resources, of their money, and they don't have a problem giving you what you desire when you're in a relationship, a marriage, something healthy. Now, when you're dating, that's different because what I would tell the ladies when you're dating, don't give him everything, right? Because he hasn't made that commitment to you. And if he hasn't made that commitment to you, then you don't want to just lock in on him. So it's the same with men. We think the same way. We haven't made a commitment. We're dating, and dating can be a loose term. The way we look at dating is rotationally dating, right? So you're dating multiple guys. You're not having sex with them. You're not doing anything that a wife would do, but you're dating. So in that case, getting money from a man when you're dating them without a commitment is not something you want to pursue because then it becomes transactional. I'm giving you money. What are you going to give me? Right. And when you're not in a committed relationship, and I'm sure you ladies can attest to this, when you're not in a committed relationship and he's giving to you, now it's like, what are you going to give me? And 90% of the time, it's something physical with men. So we don't want that type of transactional relationship. But if you're in a marriage, if you're engaged, getting him to give you money is real easy because, like I said, by nature we want to give anyway. So it's really you just continuing to do the things, encourage him, right? Make him feel like he's on top of the world. If he, like I always say, if he like fixes something in the house, make him feel like he's the best handyman or best builder ever, right? If If he just started going back to the gym, make it look like he's been going for the last 6 months when he comes back. Let him know how strong he is, right? And how fit he is. And sometimes you're encouraging him. You're speaking that into existence. So just understand, even if he's not where you desire for him to be physically, just encourage him, right? You do those things and then just start talking about things that you enjoy. Talking about like, yeah, I really, I really love Hawaii. And I'm looking at Natasha, right? But I really love Hawaii. I can't wait to go there, or yeah, I saw this jacket and it looks so nice on her, right? Things like, just say things like that. Don't put it on him. Don't say anything like, okay, I need you to buy me this. Or, yeah, I don't know what you're waiting on. I need this. You ain't bought me nothing in a while. Whatever. Don't talk like that, right? just just throw it in, right? Throw in some things you enjoy, some things you think would look nice on you, some places that you would love to go, and he'll start making provision, right? He'll give you what you desire. If it's just money, it's like, man, I just want to know how it feels one day to walk around with 5,000 in my pocket, right? Or an unlimited credit card. Whatever the case is, he'll understand what you need because men aren't mind readers, right? So men, even though you said everything outside of that, he should know you by now. You've been together for 5 years. He knows what you like. He should know that you want to go to Hawaii and need an unlimited credit card. Men don't know that, right? Because we're thinking about the next move. We're thinking about the next provision. And we're thinking about, okay, does her car need gas in it? Right? We're thinking about, like, what are we going to eat tonight? Do we need to buy some food? Are the kids okay? So we may miss some things, but you reminding us of it is really the thing that helps it. And remind in a nice, sweet way. You might want to go over and hug them, give them a kiss, right? Something where you're giving him attention and he's able to receive it because when we get a little attention, we get a hug or a kiss, we just lose ourselves and we're just in a twilight somewhere, but we still hear it, right? But it softens us up. It allows us to be in a place where we can really hear. So that's just a couple of things. Tomorrow we're going to go so much deeper in the Feminine Energy Academy. I'm going to give you the male's perspective. Natasha's going to give you the feminine energy perspective. Bring those both together. You'll have a great relationship. So we're going to give you more tools tomorrow for that. So hopefully that answered. Please pray for my marriage restoration. I'm having a difficult time with my wife. Definitely. And this information that we're giving, it's one step at a time, right? One thing at a time. A lot of times when things are all chaotic, we want to, in basketball, we may say you want a 4-point play, right? And the most you can do in basketball is a 3-pointer. So a lot of times we want the impossible to happen right away. We want, it took 6 years to get to this point, but we want it over in 6 months, 6 days, 6 hours, right? It takes time, and taking one step at a time for your marriage, you'll see it start turning around, but it starts with you, right? It's not just the other person. It starts with you making changes and really being aware of what your partner needs, right? A lot of times we focus on what we need, but being aware of what they need, and things will start turning around. Okay, let me see. Communication and listening to each other is the key to healthy relationships. Yep. I tell my wife I ain't no mind reader all the time. And that's Felix the cat. And we got a couple guys in here, so I'm excited about that as well. But yes, yeah, definitely follow me on IG, Coach B. 81, you can follow me on there as well. But definitely, we're not mind readers. We want to do as much as we can. We just need a little help. And this helps you to understand how to stay in your feminine. Because what happens a lot of times for ladies is because you feel like things aren't getting done. It's like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. And the I'll do it statement is a masculine energy statement because we're the doers, right? The feminine is the receivers. So if you find yourself always telling your kids, and especially, and even Natasha, this is something that she made adjustments with as we got married, got in a relationship, because you have so much going on. You're a single mom, you're running a business, you're working a job, you're going to school, you're volunteering at the church, right? So when it gets time to do something at home, you don't have time to wait on somebody to get better or somebody to figure it out. It's like, you know what? I'll do it. And we tell this to our kids a lot as ladies and even single men, right? But specifically to the single ladies, to the ladies that are, with kids, it's like, okay, I'll do it. And what that does, it does a couple of things, right? It keeps you in your masculine because, okay, you're always doing. Then it starts to feminize the boys that you may have because they're used to being in their receiving, just saying something, and it's always somebody else doing it for them. So it doesn't allow them to grow in their masculine, doesn't allow them to start figuring things out. It just it delays their development in their masculine. So it's always good to allow, right, the masculine to do and for you to get in a position to receive. Yeah, I've had to stop telling my 6-year-old son, I'll do. I'll show him and allow him to figure it out his own way. And it helps me to want to do more. Listen, I'm telling you, and it's something we have 4 kids. We're a blended family. What happens is we even find ourselves like we have 3 boys, and because of them losing their dad, and them being at such a young age, a lot was done for them, and not just by Natasha, but just for people. People want to help. You got grandmothers, you got um, cousins. People just want to help, and a lot of times they get used to that. So it's really reprogramming that because boys will figure stuff out, right? Just let them sit there. Initially, what they'll do is say they're not able to do it. I need help, but let them sit there and they will figure it out. Trust me. They'll sit there for a second. They may be upset, but after a while, you leave them alone. It's like a baby, right? A baby that's crying in their crib. Just leave them in there. They'll cry themselves to sleep. They'll understand that you're not coming to save them for something that they don't need to be saved from, right? So it's really about being patient with that, right? Helps him to want to do more. Exactly. That's exactly what it does for the young man. So it's important, right? And as we're going through all of this, it's so many different variables, factors in staying in your feminine as women, right? Dealing with relationships. And that's the good thing about it. We're able to go into that so deep. And I love both perspectives, right? Because the men are usually logical, right? It makes sense, right? I'm not sure what you're thinking about. It's simple, right? But with women, it makes sense. But the detail in which Natasha is able to break things down to a point where you're able to understand how it feels like she's talking to you, right? Like that's exactly what I was going to. I'll give you the answer where you'll say, okay, that makes sense. But she'll give you the answer where it's like, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly what I was going through. That's exactly what was going on in that situation. So you're able to bring both of those together, right? And you're able to ask any question you want in our DM in the Feminine Energy Academy. We'll answer those for you. But to get both perspectives and then be able to come to a solution is what's the game changer, really, right? Thank God I train my boys the opposite way. They do chores, cook, put out. Listen, that's exactly what we need, right? We need to be able to learn how to do all those things because as we get older, right, especially us, like our boys are in sports now, so and we're running businesses, we don't have time to do all of that. Plus, it's healthy for them. It's healthy for them. It gets their mind going, and this is what starts them in life, right? Because a lot of times when we're doing stuff for them, then it delays their development because now they're 16, 17 years old, and this is their first time washing dishes. It's their first time taking out the garbage, right? So not only are you battling just them not wanting to do it, they don't know how to do it, right? So we want to start as early as possible. Me Adora support, I'm going to start looking at it tonight. Okay, yeah, just all of it. So definitely any other questions because I can go deep into it, and this is something that even the Feminine Energy Academy, this is something that's been our passion. We started it up and really just wanted to help women who go through so many different challenges when they're uh, looking to date, right? Date with kids, starting businesses, right? All of this stuff, a lot of it deals with our nervous system, right? Us being able to do something new or step aside from what's comfortable. And our nervous system usually stops us because what we always talk about, once you get to a point where you're comfortable, anything above that, now you have to re regulate your nervous system because this is such new territory. And I think about it all the time. It's one story where I was actually, I used to run 3 miles, like when I was preparing for the half marathon I ran in Chicago a few years ago. I would run 3 miles, running every day. I got to a point where it was nothing. Then I got challenged one day. A guy asked me, "Yeah, come out to the woods with me, run with me." I was like, "Look, I've been running 3 miles forever. This is nothing to me. I'll be there." Right. So I showed up, ate a cookie on my way because I've been doing this so long, it's nothing. I get there, we're in the woods where you have to jump over tree trunks, right? You have to jump over mud puddles and everything. So, first 2.5, 3 miles, nothing. At the 3 mile mark, like clockwork, my body just felt like it was ready to shut down. I'm like, I'm in great shape. Why is my body shutting down? That at that point is where I had to dig deep, right? It's that re-regulation. It's like this is something new, right? I can't just stop because everything in me told me just, okay, you're good. You're good. You did your 3 miles. My body was straight, but I had to push past it, right? And that's what we deal with in relationships, with jobs, with our business. I had to push past it. And the next five, I didn't know how long I was running for. And that's another thing, too, right? When it's something new, you don't know what it takes. You don't know how long it's going to take. You just have to step out and trust. So I just kept running. I'm looking at him like, when are we going to stop? But I can't show him, right? Because I'm a man. So it's like, look, I'm with you. I'm right there on your tail, right? I look, if you when you turn around, I'm gonna be there, right? And I needed him to know that, right? But on the inside, same thing what happens when we're going into new areas in our life. On the inside, things I was I was done. That cookie started hitting in now because I didn't prepare for the cookie, right? I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare for 8 miles, right? I had never run 8 miles nonstop, right? But when I was able to push past it and we got to the finish line, because when you're running in the woods, you don't know when that light's coming, right? It's all dark, and then you hit that light when you know you're done and back to the starting line. When I got there, I was so relieved. But the funny thing is, as well, I wasn't that tired. What happens is in our mind, when we don't know what's next, right? When we don't know what's ahead, we start shutting down, right? So my body was shutting down, even though I wasn't like physically shutting down. It was just my mind was shutting down, which caused my body to shut down. But if I would have known, okay, it's 8 miles, I would have prepared. But that's not the way life works, right? We don't know necessarily what's next. We don't know necessarily how much energy it's going to take. What we have to be is willing to take that step, willing to get out of those areas of comfort. Because if we continue doing the same thing, we'll continue getting the same results. So I was able to step past that in that moment. And now that allowed me to do the half marathon. That allows me to, when I'm doing something that may be uncomfortable, to keep going because we know, just like when I was running, it was a light at the end of that, right? And once I got to the light, it was all worth it. And that's how we have to look at things as well, right? Dee Dee Harris, I see you. We got another Harris. My last name's Harris as well. That's our last name. Dee Dee's in the community. She gave the hands up, but that's the story, right? That's how things work. That's exactly how things work. And when we're able to um, get around other ladies, like other ladies that are in the Feminine Energy Academy, other ladies that have challenges, other ladies that are pushing past places that they've never been before, right? That's where it's good to have that encouragement. That's where it's good to have the tools. That's where it's good to have those people that have done it before. Because if he hadn't done it before, the guy I was running with, then he probably wouldn't have been able to get me there. Right. We might have stopped at 3 miles if both of us have only gone 3 miles. So it's good to get around people that have gone further than you in certain areas because they bring They just bring that help that you need, right? They give you that assistance that you need to keep pushing. Reminds healthy green lifestyle. Reminds me of my army road marches. Yeah. And we all have something that we've pushed past in our life. It's not like we haven't pushed past anything, right? Like you said, it's your army marches. Then we have people that, may be musicians, right? Who probably never played in front of certain crowds. And then once they played in front of that crowd, it opened up so many doors where they feel comfortable doing it anywhere, right? But once you do it, know it opens you up to get to that next level. And it's always another level to go to, right? No matter if you're making 5,000 a month, next level's 10,000 a month for you. It might be 20,000. If you're making 50,000, it might be 100,000. We're never to the point where we're okay and we don't need to deal with these nervous system re-regulations. It's at every level we get to, we have to deal with it. That's why it's so important to be around the right people. Single mom raising 3 teens need help. Yeah, definitely. I mean, raising 3 teens as a single mom sounds, for anyone, like, because we have one teenager, that's specifically not something that we have the experience of, but what we do know, when you're raising kids in general, and when they start getting to the age where, in the teens, a lot of times their hormones, their things just start changing in them, right? So their language changes, how they move changes, maybe their friends change, right? They're changing schools. There's so much change going on in them. For you, and for us, it's for us to remain consistent, right? When so much change is going on in their life, no matter how they feel, we're consistently, okay, this is what we expect. This is how you live. This is what you do. Even when you have so many different people coming your way, so many different opportunities. Because if we think about ourselves as teens, right, we started dibbling and dabbling to stuff that we shouldn't have, some of us, right? And understanding that they're going to make mistakes potentially, right? They're going to do some things that you don't agree with, but it's you being consistent, you being stable, you standing on the things that you believe as truth. And even when they make those, even when they do things that you don't agree with, you're still there for them. And that's our job, right? We pray for our kids. We're there to give them instruction, direction, but at the end of the day, they have to make the decisions. And when they make the decisions, we're there to correct, or we're there to congratulate. We're there to comfort, right? And with children, you pray for them, you do your part, you give them opportunities, and you just, in a sense, you pray that they follow your leading. And if they don't, then you make adjustments as you go on, right? But it's something that we're not able to control to the extent where everything that we desire. Especially we have people that may have gotten, their parents may have separated at some point, right? Or gotten a divorce, or someone left the house. Things happen now, and the children are affected, right? Or if they don't have the dad in the picture, things happen where it's a lot of factors going on, a lot of things going on in their mind, but we're stability, right? We're looking for mentors, we're looking for programs, we're looking for people to put them around. We're looking to get them into sports, get them into robotics, get them into things that can not only occupy their time, but get them into things that can get them around different people, the type of people that we desire. And trust me, as long as we continue to do that, pray for our children, they'll always come back to what they know, right? So you just have to trust. Don't put so much pressure on yourself where you feel like you're okay. They didn't do good today. I feel like I'm a failure. No. And this is the stuff that we help each other with in the Feminine Energy Academy as well, because we have so many single ladies, right? We have single ladies whose kids may want to get into sports, may want to get into drama and acting, and they don't have the time. And a lot of times what happens is you start feeling guilty, like, I want to provide everything for them, but I'm not able to. So the guilt comes in, and then you start overgiving, right? And then you start getting into your masculine. So it's all about protecting you so you can be healthy for them, right? And I definitely agree. Certain things only a man can impart into boys. 100% agree, right? And that's where we look at mentors, look at uncles, look at grandfathers, look at people in their lives that you can put them around the right people. Get them put them on a team, even if they're not a great sports player. Put them on a team. Let them be around healthy masculine energy men, where everything they say isn't an okay, right? Everything they say isn't a you're right, and those men will help, until your masculine energy husband comes, which we're already seeing those engagements coming in. We're seeing these men just chasing the ladies in the feminine energy academy. So that's the route you can go. That's how we say, where you can step to the side and allow those men to help you out in that way. So, question: I'm a single mom, and I find it challenging to let go and ask a man for help and be vulnerable, as my dad was toxic. How do I break this habit? I worry a man will run if I'm vulnerable. And, uh, definitely appreciate your question. And what happens in a lot of these situations is it all starts, like you said, with the, um, you know, lack of relationship with the masculine growing up, right? Not having the father in the picture. Then what happens is now we have issues of abandonment, right? Issues of not being there in a capacity that we need because that's what we missed. So now we can start projecting this on things moving forward, and what we think becomes our reality. And the way to move past that first is to deal with those inner thoughts, to deal with that hurt, to get healing in that area, right? You gotta have to get healing with the masculine energy, with the healthy masculine energy, because what you may have only seen is unhealthy masculine energy, and now you're repelled by it. You don't want to be around it. When relationships grow to a certain point, then when you start self-sabotaging because you just know something's going to happen, and to protect yourself, you stop it before it happens, right? So really getting healed from that is the first step for you, because it's so important. It's so important for you because being a single mom, you want to make sure your kids have that healthy masculine energy somewhere. If it's with your husband, if it's with just men in general, mentors, you want to speak well about them. You want to be able to identify the right type of men, and the only way that can happen is if you get that inner healing, right? Because you'll continue to do the same thing you've done in the past if you don't do anything different, right? And doing something different is getting it. Um, and I mean, the best decision I can tell you really is just to join the Feminine Energy Academy. I know it's a lot of other options. It's other, people you can talk to, but the one of the best ways I know is to get in a community like ours, a community of women who may be single moms as well, women who have, damaged relationship with the masculine, and to really heal that. And we have audios, we have videos, we have our masterclass tomorrow, right? We have masterclasses every Saturday, right? 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we have all the tools within the community, right? We're coming out with new stuff. It feels like weekly. So just to work on that area so you're able to identify, heal, and move forward, because you may desire to get married, uh, you may desire to move forward and have your kids have that bonus dad, have a father figure there, but it's you really dealing with your healing, specifically with the masculine, right? So hopefully that was able to answer your question. Yes, yes. So any other questions that we have? And I know some of the stuff, I went a little deeper and went on with it, but it's so like the answers aren't complex, but the answers have so many layers to them, because to get to where we're going, we can't just do one thing, right? It's like, okay, I want to become a basketball player, so I'm gonna start practicing. That's not enough, right? It's not enough to only practice, right? You have to first start dealing with your mental, right? And believe that you're good enough. So your confidence that we have to deal with. We have to deal with, making sure technically you're technically sound. You understand how to do things the correct way. It's one thing to dribble, but it's another thing to dribble correctly, right? Got to make sure your feet are lined up. Got to make sure your shoulders are square. Got to make sure the ball placement. And this is the same thing we do in the Feminine Energy Academy. we break it down. We don't just tell you, okay, go get healed or you need healing. No, we're going to break it down like we're training you to be an athlete, right? Training you. Okay, now you understand how to stand. Now let's see your form. Let's see how you shoot, right? Are you just throwing it up? Are you using your back? Are you turning your body? Or are you staying square, right? All of this helps you become that basketball player that you desire, or helps you heal the way that you desire, heal in all areas, right? You may have money blocks, right? All of this, we break it down so you can see where you're at first, and then so we can give you the step-by-step technique on how to get past and how to get to the place where you're that, that woman who men just can't, you just that magnetic woman. Let me just say that because it's not only men, that magnetic woman who in every area in her health, in her business, in her relationships, you're just prospering, right? So that's what we do. Let me see. So dealing with that inner will allow you to be vulnerable and to be able to receive help, right? You don't have to. Most of the time with men, you have to let them know what you want. But as far as helping, right, we're always looking to help. We're going to open the door for you, right? We're going to help you if you drop something on the floor. We're going to help you even if you're not with us, right? Even if we're not in a relationship, men want to help, right? That's where we get our satisfaction from. It's just being in a position to receive help from the men is what we have to make sure we're doing. Yes, Sammy, foundation is the key. Daughter of Zion said, how do I break the chain? Right? So the chain that you're speaking of is more of a mental chain, right? Because literally you're able to do these things, but mentally we're not able to because we haven't let go of certain things. And I think about a horse, right? I've seen a couple of memes where, because we understand what horses at a young age, they put the rope around them and they carry them around, right? And the horses just go, right? So it happens too. I saw one where someone put they did the same motion as if they were putting a rope around the horse. And then they start walking with the horse and the horse started walking, right? Without the chain, without the rope. That's what happens with us, right? In certain areas, we can be bound to the point where things aren't even happening, right? We're just thinking in our mind, things are happening, and it's pulling us in a certain direction just out of like subconsciously, like because our subconscious is already set. This is going to happen when I do this. So it happens. And nothing really happened in reality. But because in our mind, this is supposed to happen, we go down that same road. So that's like the chain, right? Where we just continue to make the same decisions and it feels like something's pulling us because we haven't dealt with our inner, because we haven't been healed in that area. We're going to continue to feel like we can't control ourselves, right? We're going to say, this is just how I talk. This is just what happens to me. This is just, what happened to my mother. And it may be a factual statement, but it doesn't have to be true to you, right? It happened to her, it happened to them. But as well as what we said about how this happened to us in a negative, we can make that same statement and change our whole path, our whole future, our whole life that's presently here by giving the positive version of what's happened or what's happening to us or how we're growing. I'm just growing every day, right? Even if you don't see it, say it, right? I'm growing every day. Things are just happening for my good, right? Things always happen for my good, right? And the more you say it, the more you script it. What we talked about scripting in the Feminine Energy Academy. When you talk about it, when you write it out, it does something to you that's different than just saying it when you start writing it out, right? You write it out every day, right? Until you see it. And once you see it, you continue to write, right? You're always talking about it in the present. You're not talking about what's going to happen next week. No, what's happening now? Now we have this going on right now, right? My kids are excelling in sports, right? These are the things that you're scripting on. Or I have my healthy masculine energy husband. These are the things that you're scripting on daily. And as you script on them, they begin to happen. But you have to change the way you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're scripting, or else it'll like a chain is carrying you around, right? So spiritual mental change, break free of it. Habit. Yes. And a lot of these things we know in like logically, right? It makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I know that. But until we start doing these things, we don't know it, right? It's one thing to like just have the knowledge of it, but it's another thing to know it. And you know it by doing it, by being around it, by embracing it, right? We don't want to be those that are full of knowledge and have all this information and can, win a debate. I can win a debate against anybody. That's not the goal, right? That, at least for us and those that want to move forward in life. The goal isn't to win a debate, to show you how much I know. The goal is to see change, right? The goal is to grow in every area of our life, right? If we started off today with, if you started off today with $1,000 in your bank account, the goal is to have at least $1,000 in one, right? To continue to see more and more of that what you're investing in every day, right? And that's what we help you with in the Feminine Energy Academy. And Adora Support, if you can put that link in there for the ladies that are interested. Again, tomorrow we're doing our dating and relationships. We're going over all profiles, all your online profiles, just to kind of help you understand, help you make those minor adjustments, right? Like move your arm this way, where we're telling you, okay, that picture looks good, but it needs more light. Or it's good what you're saying, but maybe don't say it this way, right? I see what you're saying. Just change a word here and there. And that's what it's all about. You are helping me so much. Yeah, I hope we're taking some notes in here because a lot of times what happens is, and you know, it's nothing that as men, we're not giving out this information a lot of times because we may not be asked this information, but the information that we're giving is really just so helpful in helping the ladies because women think a certain way and men think a certain way. So me listening to women helps me to understand them. So listening to us helps you understand us, and that helps you to be more effective in your relationships, right? A lot of times it's just understanding how the man thinks, right? That'll help change the whole dynamic of your relationship because now, okay, he said this. He wasn't necessarily mad at me, but he had to say it this way so I can understand, right? And that's what having these conversations helps with so much. Softy Bubble, welcome to the live. So, any other questions? Joined last month. I think this is XEPOO joined last month. So much value and support. Love it. And look, it's so many ladies in here that are in the Feminine Energy Academy, and we're in there with them every day, probably 12 to 15 hours a day. We're checking in with them, and they're still coming on the live. That's how much value that they're getting, right? They feel like even getting on here, even though they have access to us, getting on here just adds so much value, and they're helping each other. They're helping us. We're helping each other, right? Tell us about no fighting. How do you guys navigate this? That's for my ladies that are in relationships, right? The fighting part. And a lot of times, when fighting happens, it's because you have either one or two unhealed people. Not to say that now fighting is different than having a disagreement. Disagreements are normal, right? We're two different people who've come together, made a decision to come together, two separate backgrounds, two different just ways of doing things. But for us, avoiding any fighting really comes down to communicating and over communicating, right? A lot of times in relationships, you have one or both of the people who just, okay, I can't deal with it. I don't want to talk about it and never readdress it, right? And it just continues to go on. Then it builds up to the point where you can't take it anymore. Like, you know what? I tried to hold my tongue. I tried to let you go your separate way, but you keep coming my way. So I got to tell you about yourself. Or look, you have to know this. I don't care what the repercussion is of it. I got to get this off my chest. Has anyone had to get something off their chest before with the opposite sex? Let me know in there. Let me know if you had to get something off your chest before. But what happens is when we allow ourselves to get to that point. So what we do with the communication is, again, it's always The communication always happens when you're in a place where you feel like you can have a conversation where your emotions aren't high. That's on both sides, right? So in the moment, sometimes you may have to say, well, let's talk later. Because right now, I'm not feeling like it'll be a good conversation. I want to make sure I'm in a good place. And always put it on yourself. Never say, well, I can't talk to you right now because you look mad, right? Or you don't look like you're ready to talk. Just say, I need some time, right? I need a little time to talk. I want to make sure we address this. Address it, be honest with each other, but don't throw shots, right? Don't throw hope for hope. Things that you know about them, because as a couple, married, engaged, you know so much about each other, right? You can go down a list and really hurt the person if you desire to, but never throw shots, never get personal, right? Never get personal, never make it where it looks like, okay, they're wrong and you're right. That's how arguments happen. Because what will happen is you're wrong, I'm right. I'm going to list all the reasons why I'm right and you're wrong. And guess what your partner is going to do? They're going to list all the reasons why they're right and you're wrong. And this never ends, right? So you have to get to a point where you understand we even after our conversation, we may not totally agree, but who is it's kind of like it's you, it's him. What's going to bring you together? Right? For us, it's us and our faith, right? Our faith is what brings us together. This is what I say, this is what you say, this is what the word says. So we have to meet up at the word. So for you, depending on, what your spirituality is, you have to have a meeting place. And that meeting place has a bigger voice than you. It has a bigger voice than them. And that's what you have to live off of. And of course, it's always doing the re-regulating, dealing with the areas in your life that you need healing in. Right. That's the steps as well. But having that meeting place in your spirituality helps us personally avoid arguments where we're fighting. So hopefully that helped you, Sam. Yeah, the over communicating. And men don't mind over communicating, right? The conversation may not be long, right? We may not talk for 30 minutes, but we'll say enough to let you know that this is on our heart. And usually if a man says what's on their heart, then you're special to them, because men, if they don't want to tell you anything, it's either some areas that they need healing in, or they don't feel safe with you having their emotions, right? Their emotions don't feel safe with you. And it's working on that to make sure that their emotions feel safe so they can really have conversations and let you know what's going on with them, right? So, this is so good. Yeah, this information, right? This is the information that's changing the ladies' lives, right? And not just what I'm giving them, but what Natasha gives them as well. I mean, ladies are seeing changes in hours after joining the academy. Literally, they joined the academy at 11:41 Pacific time. At 12 o'clock, we're getting a testimony. Okay, I was driving and this guy waved at me. And it may feel small to some people, but for ladies that haven't opened themselves up to receive, seeing a guy wave at them is huge, right? Because they're like, okay, they're relaxed. They're relaxing their emotions, right? Or, I had 90 requests online that men wanted to go, have a conversation with me. And it may be normal to some women, but if that's not normal to you, that's a milestone, right? And making sure you understand that wherever you're at is okay. It may be normal to somebody else, but if you see change within your life, that's all that's needed, right? Okay, I'm convinced I need to join. Yeah, just go ahead and join the academy. Look, all this information is just normal conversation. I know Sammy's in there. We have a couple other ladies in there. Listen, this is what is helping our ladies. This is what our ladies are seeing changes. Women that have been in relationships for 5, 10 years that are not healthy are walking away from them, right? And we don't tell you to leave anyone, right? We tell you to work on yourself. And as you begin to work on yourself, people start coming closer to you and others start falling away from you, right? But these are women that are married. Their husbands are telling them, stay in the academy. I don't care what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Stay doing that, right? And as men, when we're encouraging you to stay doing something, then we're really seeing a change, right? Because whenever it's not involving the man and you're doing it on your own, a lot of time men are like, okay, what's going on? But if he's encouraging, like they're encouraging the ladies, whatever you're doing, that Feminine Energy Academy thing, just stay there, right? That's when you know change is happening, right? So I have time for a few more questions, but definitely so many good questions. The ladies are the receipts for y'all. Yeah, definitely. The ladies are giving out the receipts, and the receipts are coming not because they're telling you, but because we're seeing change in their life. That's where the receipts come in, right? It's one thing for me to talk to you about, okay, see, this is how you lift weights. But when I take you to work out, you're like, okay, I see what you're saying, right? You see it a little different when you see those receipts, right? How long is the program? So $39 a month. I mean, you cancel anytime. It's no long-term commitment, but we have 90-day, we have our 90-day hourglass body that we just put in there, where we give you each day the workouts, the food to eat. I believe we put it in there. We're about to, where we give you the workouts, the food to eat, how many grams of protein you need, just everything. Where we break it down. So we have so many programs within there, that once you get in there, it's just so many areas for you to grow in. But the only commitment is the $39 for you to join. Anything after that is up to you. So worth it, right? Exactly. The best thing my wife told me was that it's okay to be vulnerable. Listening to you, I can see I have room to be a better version of myself, my queen. That's Felix the cat. So good to hear that. And this is a guy who's been married and seems to have a healthy relationship, but it's always room to grow, right? It could be that one thing that we learn that changes everything in our life, in our relationship, in our health. And you have to be there to get it, though, right? They say you got to play to win. And so you have to be a part of it to get that one nugget that can change your life, right? And a yearly discount. So it's $39 a month, or if you buy it for the year, it's $390. So that takes off two payments. Essentially takes off about $80 from it. So either way, you're good to go. We're locked in. We're coming out with so much content and so many videos, so many audios. Our women come in there and just brainwash themselves, right? Because what happens is we brainwash ourselves with all the different social media platforms. We brainwash ourselves with the news. We brainwash ourselves with sports. But this is brainwashing ourselves with something that's allowing us to see change in our life. And the returns are great when you brainwash yourself with information that is changing people's lives, that's changing marriages, changing people's financial situations, also changing your health, right? Because we have so many things in there, and those are the three areas that we really specify on, right? So, yeah, so any other questions that you all have, please, this is the time right now. And you can also ask us questions in the Feminine Energy Academy. You can inbox us, you can DM us in there. We'll answer those questions. We're in there so much that sometimes we don't get a chance to answer questions that are on other platforms. But if you're in the academy, we're sure to get there to answer your questions, because that's where most of our time resides when we're online. The glow up, exactly. The glow up. So again, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're on. If you're in the community, you'll have the information to join the call. Relationships and dating, going over all your profiles and exactly how to put yourself in position to receive your masculine energy husband that you're desiring, what tools and tips you need, what to say, how to present yourself, and also what the man is looking for. We'll go over all that tomorrow. So I'm going to give it a little more, see if we have any other questions. Definitely been a great time. So many great questions, so many ladies in the community. Yolanda joined the community today. Make sure you inbox us. We'll reach out to you and give you those tools that you need. It looks like we have another question. The link is in the profile to join the Feminine Energy Academy as well. Thanks, Adora support. How to figure out his appreciation language, right? Well, with men, we're pretty simple. And we're simple, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? As long as you're paying attention, right? But most men, you know, if you're in a married, if you're married, we talk about a lot of stuff married men like. If you catch my drift, that'll let him know you appreciate him, right? You know, I mean, of course, some men like cooking. You when you cook for them, but it's all ultimately leading up to the marriage connection, right? To connecting in the bed is is there. That's our language, right? Okay, we're doing this. She appreciates me, right? I don't have to go and ask her. I don't have to, write signs, and I don't have to remind her how long it's been, right? This is something that she's doing on her own, so she really appreciates it. And men just appreciate you encouraging them, right? Just encourage them in whatever they do, right? When you do that, then you'll see they'll give you exactly what you desire, right? They'll do it without you beating them down their neck, without you having to repeat it, showing that appreciation for whatever they do, right? Because men, we're either building something, right? We're working on something. We're trying to make sure things are provided for. So those are the areas that we're focused on. And when you let us know that we're doing a great job, we appreciate it. And then when you show us when it's time to go to bed that you appreciate us, then you have a happy marriage, right? So hopefully that answered your question. Don't complicate it. Deidre says yes. I don't know if that's praying hands or a high five. I've heard different stuff, so I'm gonna go with a high five. But no, so jump into the Feminine Energy Academy. We're in there. We can't wait to talk to you and see you in there. Any question I didn't get a chance to answer, just jump in there, ask me, ask Natasha. She's in there. A lot of you heard her on the side laughing most of the live, but she's right here with me, and we're here to answer your questions. Validation, exactly. Figures the cat. Make sure you add me on Instagram, right? We got something coming for the men soon, so I want to make sure you're a part of it. I'm joining after the live. Make sure, Kadisha, Sarah, that you DM us as soon as you join. So happy to have you a part of the community. Love you all. Talk to you soon.